The Woman in Chains. The night was quiet on planet Vorna 7. Cold winds moved through the tall, glowing trees. Eric, a human repairman, walked back to his small cabin after a long day at the mining station. He lived alone. Most people avoided him. He liked it that way. But tonight felt strange. A sound stopped him. It wasn't wind. It was crying. Eric paused, listening carefully. The sound was soft but real, high-pitched, full of pain. He turned his flashlight on and walked slowly toward the jungle. Could be an animal, he muttered, but something in his chest told him it wasn't. He pushed through thick bushes. The cries grew louder. Eric moved faster now. His heart beat hard. After a few minutes, he reached a clearing and then stopped dead in his tracks. There she was, an alien woman. Tall, thin, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her skin was silver blue, and long white hair covered her dirty face. She was chained to a rock. Her arms were bloody, and cuts ran down her legs. Her breathing was shallow. Eric's mouth opened slightly. What the hell? She turned her head slowly and looked at him. Her eyes, large and glowing, were full of fear and pain. Help, she whispered. Please. Without thinking, Eric dropped to one knee beside her. The chains were tight and cruel, with spikes digging into her skin. Who did this to you? He asked. She didn't answer. Her eyes closed like she was slipping away. Eric looked around. No one. But there were footprints. Someone had done this, and they might come back. He pulled a small cutter from his belt and began working on the chains. The metal was strong, alien steel, not from Earth. It took time, and his hands started bleeding, but he didn't stop. As the last shackle broke open, the woman collapsed into his arms. She was unconscious. Eric held her close. She was cold, too cold. He stood up, carrying her like a child. We need to move, he said to himself. But before he could take a step, he heard it. Voices, deep and cruel, coming from the trees. She's still here, one of them shouted. Eric's eyes went wide. He looked around quickly. He couldn't fight, not with her like this. He ran. Branches slapped his face as he pushed through the jungle. His boots hit rocks, roots, and mud. Still, he ran. The woman's body was light, but his arms were burning. He could hear the others chasing him. Then, a sharp pain, a blast hit his side. He stumbled but didn't fall. He gritted his teeth and kept going. He didn't stop until he found a small cave near the river. He ducked inside and placed her down gently on the cold stone. Blood dripped from his side. His shirt was soaked. The wound was deep. He winced, tearing cloth from his sleeve to wrap it. The woman stirred. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Shh, Eric said softly. You're safe now. She opened her eyes and reached toward him, but stopped, scared. It's okay, Eric said. I won't hurt you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She placed a shaking hand on her chest. Almira, she whispered. Almira, Eric repeated. She pointed at him. You bleed? For me? He nodded slowly. I couldn't just leave you there. Her eyes softened. She touched his bloody arm with her glowing fingers. Her touch was warm, too warm for someone so cold before. The two of them sat in silence deep in the shadows of the cave. Outside, the hunters searched. Inside, a bond had started to form, silent but powerful. Eric leaned back against the wall, breathing hard. His side throbbed. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why she was chained. But one thing was clear. He had just risked his life for an alien woman he didn't even know. And something told him. This was only the beginning. Eric pressed the cloth tighter against his bleeding side. The pain burned like fire. Blood soaked through the fabric, but he didn't stop. The alien woman, Almira, was lying beside him in the cave, still weak and half-conscious. Outside, the sounds of shouting and footsteps echoed in the jungle. They're still looking for her, Eric whispered. He reached for his old communicator, broken, just like everything else in his life. There was no way to call for help. Elmira coughed. Her body shook as she tried to sit up. Eric helped her gently. "You shouldn't move," he said. Her glowing eyes met his. Why did you save me?" Eric gave a small smile. Because no one else would. She looked at the blood on his shirt. "You hurt." "I'll live." He lied. The pain in his ribs told him otherwise. Suddenly, the noise outside grew louder. A harsh alien voice shouted something in a strange language. Elmira's face turned pale. "They have a tracker," she whispered. "They'll find me." Eric looked around. The cave was too small, no back exit. If they were found, they were trapped. "I'll lead them away," Eric said. Elmira grabbed his arm. "No, you're bleeding." "I've been through worse," he said with a wink, even though he wasn't sure it was true. He stood, legs shaking, and picked up a rock. Carefully, he placed it under her blanket to make it look like someone was still lying there. Then he covered her with branches and moss to hide her. "Don't make a sound," he whispered, "no matter what." She nodded slowly, eyes wide with fear. Eric stepped outside. The night air hit his face like ice. He didn't run. He stumbled on purpose, making noise, pretending he was fleeing fast. Behind him, a shout. "They found me," he muttered. "Come on, you bastards." A flash of red light flew past his head. Eric ran through the jungle, heart pounding, blood dripping with every step. A blast hit a tree beside him. Bark exploded. He turned, raised both hands like he was surrendering. The raiders, a group of tall, armored aliens, rushed forward. One of them grabbed Eric by the throat and lifted him. "Where is she?" the alien roared. Eric coughed, struggling to breathe. "You mean the woman in chains?" the alien snarled. "Yes, give her to us." Eric spat blood. "She's gone. I let her go. I hope she gets far away from scum like you." The alien growled and punched Eric hard in the stomach. He fell to the ground. The pain in his side exploded. He almost blacked out. "Search the cave," another one ordered. 3 of them ran toward it. Eric forced himself to sit up. "Wait. Please," he gasped. One alien turned back. "Speak, human," Eric smirked. "She's not what you think." Suddenly, from the trees, a loud blast. Then another. The raiders spun around. One of their men fell, a burning hole in his chest. Someone else was here. From the shadows, a tall, hooded figure stepped forward. A local resistance fighter. They aimed and fired again. Chaos broke out. Eric crawled behind a rock as lasers flew. Overhead, the jungle lit up with blasts and screams. He heard someone shout Elmira's name, but not in anger. In desperation. Then everything went quiet. Minutes passed. Slowly, Eric peeked from behind the rock. The raiders were gone. One of them lay dead nearby. The rest had vanished into the jungle. Eric limped back to the cave. Elmira was still there, eyes wide, shaking. "You came back," she whispered. He gave her a weak smile. "Told you I'd been through worse." She looked at his blood-soaked side, tears in her eyes. "You bled for me?" Eric sat beside her. "Worth it." Elmira touched his arm gently. Her skin glowed brighter now. She placed her hand over his wound. Warmth spread through his body. Not just warmth, light. His breathing slowed. The pain faded. Eric stared at her, shocked. "What are you doing?" "I gave you pain," she said. "Now I give you peace." For a few minutes there was silence. Only the sound of wind through the trees. Eric looked into her glowing eyes. He had saved her. He had almost died doing it. But in that moment, he felt something deep. This was more than rescue. This was the start of something bigger, something strange, something powerful. Morning light broke through the trees, touching the edge of the cave with soft golden rays. Birds chirped in the distance. But inside, silence filled the space between two very different beings. Eric slowly opened his eyes. His side, once burning with pain, now felt warm, almost numb. He looked down at the bandage soaked with blood. But underneath, he saw smooth skin, no cut, no scar. He looked over. Almira sat beside him with her knees pulled to her chest, her silver blue skin glowing faintly in the light. She was awake, watching him. Quiet, careful. "You healed me," Eric said softly. Almira didn't answer. Her eyes stared at the ground. He sat up. "Why? You don't even know me." Her voice was like a whisper in the wind. "You bled for me. No one ever did that before." Eric smiled. "Then I guess I'm the first." Still, she said nothing. Her fingers traced invisible symbols in the dirt beside her. They were soft, round, glowing briefly before fading away. Eric leaned in. "What is that?" She looked at him. Her voice was heavy. "My name, my real one. But you already told me." "Almira." She shook her head. "That is a name I give to outsiders. It is safe." She placed her hand over her chest. "But this is my true name. The one that holds power." Eric stared at the symbols. "Power?" She nodded. "In my people's culture, our real names are tied to our soul. Only those we trust may know it." Eric swallowed. "Then why show me?" Almira looked into his eyes. "Because you gave your blood. Not for reward, not for gain, but just to save someone." Eric felt something stir in his chest. No one had ever trusted him like that, not even other humans. Yet here was this alien woman, glowing, frightened, strong, offering her truth to him. "What does it mean?" he asked, pointing at the strange symbol. She hesitated. Then slowly, she spoke. "My name is Velshaya Naelintirakai." The jungle grew quiet. The air felt heavier. As she spoke the name, the walls of the cave shimmered slightly and the ground seemed to hum. The plants outside pulsed with soft light for just a moment. And then it stopped. Eric blinked. "What was that?" Almira, no, Velshaya looked down. "The world heard my name." He felt chills down his back. "Is that bad?" She nodded slowly. "It means they will come faster now. Those who hunt me. Those who know that name." Eric's heart raced. "Then why tell me?" "Because I'm tired," she said softly. "Tired of hiding, tired of pain. I thought I would die on that rock, chained like an animal, but you changed that." Eric sat in silence. He didn't know what to say. All his life he had been just a worker, a fixer, a nobody. But now, he felt like he mattered to her. "I don't know what you are," he said. "Royalty, warrior, goddess, but I won't let them take you again." Velshaya looked at him surprised. "Even if it costs you more blood?" He nodded. "Even if it costs everything." For the first time she smiled. A small, broken smile, but real. Then her eyes turned serious. "There's something you should know." Eric leaned in. "What?" "I'm not just hunted for who I am, but for what I carry." She reached into the folds of her torn robe. Carefully, she pulled out a small glowing stone. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "What is that?" "This is a life core," she whispered. "It holds the memory of my people, all of it. History, knowledge, bloodlines. Without it, my species is truly lost." Eric's breath caught. "That's why they want you?" She nodded. "They want to take it. Use it. Destroy my kind forever." He stared at the glowing stone. So small, so simple, and yet, it held the past and future of an entire race. And now, he was part of that story. "I won't let them win," he said quietly. Velshaya touched his hand. "Then you are no longer just a stranger." She pressed the stone gently into his hand. It glowed brighter. His skin lit up for a moment. It felt warm, alive. "You carry my name now," she said, "and my people's hope." Eric looked at the glowing stone in his palm, then at the woman who had once been a prisoner in chains. He had shed his blood to save her. But now, he realized, he had been chosen for something far greater. The cave could no longer keep them safe. Eric and Velshaya stood at its mouth, bags packed with dried roots, water flasks, and the glowing life core hidden deep inside cloth. The morning light was sharp and hot. Far in the distance, the sound of ships breaking through the clouds made the birds scatter. "They're coming," Velshaya whispered, eyes fixed on the sky. Eric tightened the straps on his bag. "Then we go now." They ran through the jungle, moving fast between thick trees and glowing vines. The ground was soft, the air wet and heavy. Eric's muscles ached, but he kept going. He didn't look back. Every few minutes, Velshaya would stop. Her hand would touch the dirt or the air. Then she would turn sharply in a new direction. "You're sure?" Eric asked, breathless. "I can feel the metal," she said. "Their machines poison the ground." Hours passed. The sun moved above them. Still, they ran. By the time they stopped, Eric collapsed beside a cold stream. His shirt clung to his back. Velshaya knelt and placed her hands in the water. "They are using hunter bots now," she said quietly. "They won't stop." Eric pulled a small energy pistol from his bag. "Then we won't either." She looked at the weapon and smiled sadly. "That won't help much." Suddenly, a loud buzzing filled the air. Leaves above them shook. Velshaya's eyes widened. Too late. A silver drone swooped down from the trees. Eric fired. The bolt missed. The drone scanned them, then took off into the sky. "It saw us," Eric said. She nodded. "Now, they know exactly where we are." Without another word, they ran again. This time the jungle opened into wide hills. The trees thinned out. Velshaya slowed and pointed to a dark mountain far ahead. "There's a temple," she said. "It's old. My people once hid there." "That's where we're going?" She nodded. "It's the only place with protection. Maybe enough to slow them." They pushed forward, the mountain still a blur in the distance, but the sky behind them turned red. A ship descended. Big, black, humming with power. Then, blasts of light struck the ground near them. The earth shook. Trees caught fire. A wave of heat rolled over them. "Eric!" Velshaya screamed. He dove, to shield her as a tree exploded behind them. "We can't outrun a ship," he yelled. "We don't have to," she said. "Just make it to the rocks." They slid down a muddy hill and ducked behind giant boulders. Eric pulled her close as more blasts shook the ground. Then silence. The ship hovered above them, unmoving. Waiting. Velshaya looked up. Her voice shook. "They're not just soldiers now. It's him." Eric blinked. "Who?" She closed her eyes. "The one who chained me. My father's betrayer. His name is Karth." Eric clenched his fists. "So he's the reason you were hunted?" "Yes," she whispered. "He wants the core. He wants my blood." Eric grabbed her shoulders. "Then we get to that temple. We get there, and we make our stand." Velshaya took a deep breath. "Then follow me and don't stop no matter what happens." They waited for the sound of the ship moving off, then ran again. Through narrow stone paths and hidden tunnels, they climbed the edge of the mountain. Rocks cut their hands. Wind roared past their ears. But the top came closer. Eric's legs felt like fire. His lungs burned. But Velshaya kept going, glowing slightly even in the harsh sun. At last, they reached a stone door covered in strange symbols. Velshaya pressed her hand on the center. Nothing. She tried again, this time whispering, a word, her true name. The stone glowed, then cracked open. Inside was darkness. She turned to Eric. Once we enter, they'll know we're here. There's no turning back. He nodded. Let them come. They stepped inside. The door closed behind them with a deep thud. Inside, strange. Lights flickered to life. Velshaya smiled faintly. It remembers me. Eric looked around. The walls were alive with color and motion. Energy hummed beneath their feet. But he didn't relax. He knew this was just the calm before the storm. Outside, the ship landed. Soldiers stepped out, and at the front was Karth, tall, cold, eyes like metal. He pointed toward the mountain. Burn it down if you must, he said. But bring her to me alive. Inside the ancient temple, the air was heavy and still. Eric stepped forward slowly, his boots echoing on the stone floor. The walls glowed faintly with soft blue lights that danced, like stars. Strange symbols floated in the air, then disappeared as he passed them. Velshaya walked ahead of him, her hand glowing. With every step, the lights grew brighter. This place, it's alive, Eric whispered. Velshaya nodded. It was built by my ancestors. Only those of royal blood can awaken it. Eric looked around, amazed. Then why did it open for you? Now? She stopped. Because I spoke my true name, that gave me access, but it also means the temple will burn itself if I fall. Eric frowned. It'll destroy itself? Yes, she said, so our knowledge never ends up in the wrong hands. Eric placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we can't let you fall. Velshaya looked at him for a long moment. I want to show you something. She led him down a glowing path deeper into the temple. The walls changed color as they walked, going from blue to soft gold. Ahead, a round chamber opened with a glowing pool in the center. Mist rose from its surface. Velshaya stepped to the edge. This is the memory pool. It holds visions, stories from those before me. Eric looked into the water. For a second, he saw only his reflection. Then it changed. He saw Velshaya as a child, running through fields with her father, a tall alien man in royal armor. He laughed and carried her on his shoulders. Behind them, a beautiful city of light floated in the sky. Then the vision shifted. Fire, screams, betrayal. The same man Karth once trusted, now wearing dark armor. He turned on the king. Velshaya screamed as chains were thrown over her. The image faded. Eric pulled back, shaken. That was you? She nodded. Her voice cracked. Karth was once our general, my father's right hand, but he wanted power. He took it by force, and I was the only one who escaped. Eric stared at the pool. That's why he wants the life core. He wants to erase everything your people were. Yes, she said. And if he gets it, my race dies forever. Suddenly the ground trembled. Eric turned. They're here. Velshaya nodded. Then it's time. She took Eric's hand and led him to the center of the room. From the ceiling, a beam of light dropped down, scanning them both. Symbols circled around them like glowing fireflies. Eric felt something press against his chest. The life core hidden under his shirt began to pulse. Velshaya raised her hand. The core has accepted you. That means it sees you as one of us. Eric's eyes widened. What does that mean? She stepped closer. It means I can give you something, but it comes with a cost. What kind of cost? My blood, she said, and your soul must be open. Before he could ask more, she placed her hand over his heart. Her skin glowed bright gold. The life core pulsed in rhythm. The air cracked with energy. Eric gasped. Visions flooded his mind, of stars, battles, sorrow, love. He saw her people, her pain, her strength. When it ended, he dropped to his knees, shaking. Velshaya fell too, breathing hard. It's done. Eric touched his chest. The pain in his side was gone again, but something new burned inside him. Power, warm and ancient. What did you do to me? He asked. Velshaya smiled. You're now linked to the temple. If I fall, it will obey you. Before Eric could answer, the doors shook violently. Boom, boom, boom. Then silence. Velshaya stood tall. He's here. Eric pulled out his energy pistol. Then let's welcome him. The stone doors slowly opened. Karth walked in, surrounded by armored guards, his eyes locked on Velshaya. So, he said, voice cold, you finally stopped running. Velshaya stood with pride. I stopped hiding. There's a difference. Karth sneered. Give me the core, girl, and I might let the human live. Eric stepped forward. Not happening. Karth raised a hand, and a blast of dark energy threw Eric backward across the room. Velshaya screamed. No! She rushed to Eric, but Karth stepped forward, his blade drawn. I've waited long enough, he said. Say goodbye. Suddenly, the temple screamed. Lights burst from the walls. The floor glowed hot white. The pool roared like a storm. Karth froze. What is this? Velshaya stood, eyes glowing bright. You made a mistake. You gave me time. The temple roared with light. The air shook. Glowing runes raced across, the walls like fireflies set free. The pool at the center turned gold and the ground beneath their feet vibrated with ancient power. Karth stumbled back. His guards raised their weapons, but even they looked afraid. What is this? Karth shouted, his voice cracking. She doesn't have the authority to activate the heart of the temple. But Velshaya did not move. She stood still, eyes glowing, brighter than ever before. Her long white hair flowed like it was alive, caught in a wind no one could feel. She raised both hands slowly. The temple answered her call. Eric, still on one knee after Karth's earlier blast, looked up. His heart pounded. The pain was gone, replaced by something stronger, something warm, something ancient. He could feel Velshaya's energy. Inside him, the life core on his chest burned golden. Velshaya turned to him. Eric, it's time. He stood slowly, shaky, but steady. Time for what? To complete the bond, she said. Only together can we unlock what my people left behind. Eric stared at her. What kind of bond? Velshaya walked forward and gently pressed her forehead to his. Her voice was soft. One that ties blood to soul. One that lets you feel what I feel. A bond only given once in a lifetime. Eric's breath caught. Why me? Because you bled for me. Without asking for anything. She placed both hands on his chest. Her glow moved into him. Light like flowing water, wrapping around his arms, his back, his heart. His skin glowed with her mark. And in that moment, he saw everything. Her pain, her joy, her loneliness, her dreams. He saw a little girl screaming for her father as soldiers dragged her away. He saw her locked in a dark cell, singing to herself to stay sane. He saw her chained to a rock, waiting to die, and then he saw himself, walking into her life. When the light faded, Eric stood differently. Straighter, stronger. He looked at his hands. Glowing patterns ran along his skin, markings of her people. You're one of us now, Velshaya whispered. Eric turned to face Karth. Then I fight as one of you. Karth growled. This changes nothing. You're still weak. He lifted his arm to attack, but before he could strike, Eric raised his own hand. A wave of energy shot from his palm, knocking Karth back with force that cracked the floor. The guards panicked. Velshaya's voice rang out. He is bonded to me now. The temple listens to him as it does to me. Eric stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Leave now, Karth. Or face the full power of a world you tried to erase. Karth struggled to rise. You think love can save you? No, Eric said. But loyalty can. He raised his hand again. The temple responded. A giant shield of light surrounded them. Karth hissed. This isn't over. He vanished in a flash of dark mist, his guards fleeing behind him. Silence returned. Eric dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Is he gone? Velshaya nodded slowly. For now. But he'll return, stronger, angrier. Eric looked up at her. Then so will we. Velshaya helped him stand. You didn't have to do this. He smiled softly. You were never just someone to save. You were someone worth bleeding for. Velshaya's eyes filled with tears, not of sorrow, but something rare, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. She stepped closer. You are no longer just Eric. He raised an eyebrow. Then who am I? She placed her hand over his heart. You are Velshar, bonded protector of the last royal flame. The name echoed in the room, and the temple glowed in agreement. Eric chuckled. Velshar? Sounds powerful. It is, she whispered. They stood in the golden light, two souls now connected by more than fate. Outside, Karth's ship fled into the skies. But inside the mountain, a new legend was born. The temple was quiet. Soft golden light pulsed through its stone walls like a steady heartbeat. Eric, now called Velshar, stood on the edge of the ancient chamber watching the glowing pool. It had once shown him pain. Now, it shimmered with peace. Velshaya stepped beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes still carried weight. You could leave, you know, she said quietly. Eric looked at her. Why would I do that? You've done more than I ever asked, she said. You bled for me. You protected me. You accepted a bond that can't be broken. Eric smiled softly. I didn't stay for duty, Velshaya. I stayed for you. She turned away, blinking back emotion. You still don't understand what you gave me. He tilted his head. What do you mean? She walked to a wall covered in ancient symbols. With one touch it lit up, showing an image of a tree, its roots glowing beneath a starry sky. Tiny lights floated up from the roots, forming stars in the sky above it. My people believed in soul rooting, she explained. That once in a generation a person could bond with another so deeply, they became one soul in two bodies. Eric stepped closer. You mean, like a mate? She nodded slowly. But not by force. Only through sacrifice. Through love. He was silent for a moment. Then, with a smile, guess bleeding out in the jungle counts. Velshaya laughed. Sound like wind through silver leaves. It was the first time he'd heard her truly laugh, but the moment didn't last long. A low hum echoed through the floor. The temple lights dimmed slightly. Eric turned serious. What is that? Velshaya touched the wall again. Symbols shifted. Karth has called for a war council, she said. He plans to return, with armies, ships, machines that can melt entire worlds. Eric clenched his fists. Then we strike first. Velshaya shook her head. No, we don't fight him with force. We fight him with truth. She pressed her hand into a round stone in the wall. A small opening appeared. Inside, a sphere of glowing crystal. This, she whispered, is the true reward. Not power, not weapons, but knowledge forgotten. Eric stared at it. What is it? She held it out to him. Everything. The wisdom of my people. Their hearts, their songs, their peace. If the galaxy hears this, it may change more than just Karth's empire. Eric took the sphere. The moment his fingers touched it, his mind filled with warm visions, worlds without war, creatures living in harmony, technology that healed instead of hurt. He stepped back, overwhelmed. We need to share this, Velshaya nodded. And you will. Eric looked at her confused. Me? She stepped close, her voice firm but tender. You're human, Eric. You carry no history of war with my people, no bias, no throne. That's why the temple chose you. That's why I chose you. His chest tightened. You're not coming? Velshaya's smile was soft but sad. My place is here. This temple is the last light of my people. I must protect it. Eric shook his Hedda, we started this together. And it's not ending, she said. This is just the beginning of something greater. She leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his one last time. Through the bond, he felt her warmth, her sorrow, her hope, and her love. When they pulled apart, she whispered, "No matter how far you go, I will feel you. Always." A beam of light opened at the edge of the chamber, a portal created by the temple, a path back to human space. Eric held the glowing sphere close to his chest. He looked back one more time. "Goodbye, Velshaya." She smiled. "No, Velshar. Until we meet again." He stepped into the light. The temple closed behind him. 3 months later, on Earth, news stations exploded with headlines. Human explorer delivers lost alien knowledge that could end disease and war. New treaty signed between humans and 12. Alien races after message of peace goes galactic. Who is the man called Velshar, the human who changed the stars? Eric watched it all quietly from a small cabin, far from the cities. He didn't care for fame. He cared for her. At night he sat outside under the stars. In his hand, the life core still pulsed gently. He closed his eyes, and in his mind, he heard her voice. "I feel you." And he smiled.